Hey Edge, we are starting a new series today all about influence. And I think we all know that one person, that one friend, who when they walk into the room changes. Maybe they walk in, all of a sudden the party is better. Everyone's has higher energy, they're walking around, making people smile, making people laugh. Or maybe it's someone on your team who, whenever they're there, they work so hard, they make everyone else work harder. Or maybe it's someone who's in the classroom and maybe in your group project and they're just so excited about the subject and the project that you actually get excited about doing a group project. I know, crazy. And maybe some of us can think of people who do the opposite. They walk into the room and all of a sudden everyone has to talk louder because they are so loud. Or they show up and just everyone's mood gets dampened because they are so negative all the time. Here's the thing, people have influence on the people around them, but what is missed often is that we think of all the people out there that are doing the influencing, and we don't always think about how we are influencing others. So this series is called The You Effect, and we're looking at the effect you have wherever you go. Now, for some of you, you might think, yeah, I'm a leader, I have influence, I'm a leader on a team, or I'm first chair, trumpet, or I have a leadership position at my school or my church. Yeah, I have influence. I have an effect on people. But others of you might be thinking, I don't know if I really have that much of an impact on the people around me. I'm not really in a position of leadership. Well, here's the thing about influence. You don't need to be in a position of leadership or authority to have an effect on the people around you. So today, we're looking at a story in the Bible of an unlikely person who had a huge impact. This is John 6, 1 through 6. Sometime after this, Jesus crossed to the far shore of the Sea of Galilee, that is, the Sea of Tiberias, and a great crowd of people followed him because they saw the signs he had performed by healing the sick. Then Jesus went up on a mountainside and sat down with his disciples. The Jewish Passover festival was near. When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for all these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. So, imagine this scene. Jesus, the miracle worker, he's attracting crowds like he always does. There are so many people there. There's thousands of people there. And he turns, imagine being Philip, just hanging out with Jesus, listening to him, and then Jesus turns to you and is like, yo, hey, I think we should feed all these people. And if you're Philip, you're like, what? Like, we can't just run down to McDonald's and order 5,000 Big Macs, right? Like, what are you talking about, Jesus? We can't do that. This is what Philip says. Philip answered him, "It would take more than half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have just a bite." Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. "Here's a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many?" So apparently only one mom in the entire countryside thought to send her boy with a lunch. Thanks, Mom. But they spoke up, they identified this boy, he came forward, but he has so very little. But it's something. And what Jesus does with the little bit that this kid can offer is incredible. Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There's plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. When they had all enough to eat, he said to the disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted." So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of the 5 barley loaves left over by those who had eaten. After the people saw the sign Jesus performed, they began to say, "Surely this is the prophet who has come into the world." Okay, now I don't know what you're picturing, but with these 5 loaves of bread and these 2 fish, I just picture Jesus breaking it in half, hand in half over, it's whole again. Break it in half, hand it over, break it, hand it. infinitely until there's enough to feed 5,000 men. That's not even counting the women and the children that were there. So there's thousands and thousands of people, and they all had enough to eat. Crazy story. This is amazing. The hero of this story is this kid who only had a little bit to offer, and Jesus did incredible things with it. Now, there's nothing special about this kid, and it wasn't the amount that he had that mattered. It was his willingness to be used by God. In fact, he's so unimportant that we don't have his name. We don't know what town he's from. We don't know what family he's from. He comes onto the scene and he's gone the next day. He had no position of authority, no position of leadership. He didn't have huge influence. All he had was a little bit of food, but he gave it all to God. And God used it to make an incredible impact. Can you imagine being that kid, going home to your mom and be like, Mom, guess what? You would never believe this. Jesus took my food. Yeah, you know that food you made me? That was great. Thank you, Mom. He took the food and he multiplied it. And everyone ate the food you sent. Because the thing is, Jesus isn't looking for someone who's popular. He's not looking for someone who's talented, smart, or cool. And when you give what you have to God, He can use you to make a huge impact on the people around you. Here's the key we want you to take away today. It's that you have more of an effect than you think. You have an effect on your friend group. You have an effect on your family. You have an effect on your classmates, your teammates, your band members. You have an effect even on the people you come in contact with throughout the day that you don't even know that well. You have an effect. How can you leverage this to glorify God and for God to use you in cool ways? 3 things. 1, identify the who. Who is around you that you could make a positive impact on? Who is around you that needs help? Who is around you that you have been placed into their lives? So that's the first one, who. 2, identify the need, the what. What do the people around you need? What pain are the people around you feeling? What desires are they having? What hurts? What problems? What do they need? Identify that. So 2, identify the need. And 3, identify what you can do to help meet that need. You might not be able to do it all. You might think that what you have to offer is insignificant, but remember the boy with the bread and the fish. He did not have much, but he gave all he had to God, and God multiplied it to make a huge impact on the crowd. So, who is around you? What do they need? And how can you contribute? And I'll give you a bonus one. All of us have been impacted by people in our lives. So maybe sometime this week, sit down, send a text, a letter, a note, an email. You guys don't use emails, letters. You probably don't even know how to send a letter. Do something to reach out to someone who's made an impact on your life and just say thank you. Because oftentimes, we don't thank the people who have made the biggest impact on us. And they might never know the depth of the effect they have on you. So just reach out, say thank you for the impact that you had on me. Here's what you did. Here's how it impacted me. I appreciate that. It will go a long, long way in that person's life. So, week 1 of the you effect. You have more of an effect than you think. So go out there, see who's around you, what they need, what you can do. Give everything you've got to God, and God will take what little you give Him and create it into something that makes a huge impact on the world.